My name is Katina Lillios, and I'm an archaeologist at the University of Iowa. Me and my colleagues, Antonio Blanco-Gonzalez, Brandon Lee Drake, and Jose Antonio Lopez-Saez, have worked to investigate the relationship between climate change and culture change during the mid to late Holocene of the Iberian Peninsula, between 6000 and 3000 BP. One of the major changes in the ancient European past was the Copper to Bronze Age transition, around 4200 BP. This occurred at the same time as the 4.2 KYA climate event, which was a time of cool, arid conditions and culture collapse in many regions of the world. For our study, we compared three kinds of evidence: radiocarbon dates, delta C13 values, and pollen, to evaluate the relationship between the 4.2 KYA event and the Copper to Bronze Age transition. This research is important for three reasons. First, it is the first time that climate history for the mid to late Holocene has been integrated to the archaeological record for large areas of the Iberian Peninsula. This was possible only recently with the availability of a comprehensive database of over 7,000 radiocarbon dates. Second, our analyses reveal that population shifts and some important environmental changes occurred prior to 4200 BP, that is, before the early Bronze Age and prior to the 4.2 KYA event. This means that the 4.2 KYA event did not cause the changes of the early Bronze Age. On another level, this also tells us that dates of observable cultural changes in the past, such as shifts in settlement or burial patterns, may really be the culmination of processes that were underway much earlier. Third, our work suggests a population shift from the southwest to the southeast of Iberia occurred around 4500 BP, which may have contributed to the cultural changes of the early Bronze Age. In order to address the diverse geographies and histories of the Iberian Peninsula, we compared three regions: the northwest, where there were low levels of cultural change before and after the early Bronze Age; the southwest, which shows an intermediate degree of contrast; and the Mediterranean southeast, which underwent marked cultural disruption. Before analysis, all radiocarbon dates were audited. This left us with approximately 2,000 dates and 221 delta C13 values. Radiocarbon dates were calibrated and a Bayesian model applied. For pollen, records that had an uncertain chronological setting were excluded, as well as those with low sampling resolution or counts. This left us with 23 records. This slide shows the frequency of radiocarbon dates for the three study regions, with 4200 BP indicated by the dashed line. Until 4500 BP, the three regions show roughly parallel trends, with a spike at 4700 BP. After 4500 BP, the regions diverge. The southwest, in blue, shows a marked decrease. The northwest, in red, also decreases, but not as significantly. In contrast to both regions, the southeast, in green, continues to increase. Turning now to the climate data, first using delta C13 values, seen on the lower plot. These indicate that from about 5700 to 4700 BP, there was increased aridity, after which the climate quickly stabilized to a wetter climate, but not as wet as before. The delta C13 values do not provide evidence for an arid episode at 4200 BP, shown by the dashed line. However, significant differences in the available data in each region suggest caution in interpreting these values. The pollen record tells a somewhat different and more nuanced story, which we can only summarize now. In general, the pollen record reveals both climatic and anthropogenic changes. Cores from all three regions show climate deterioration around 4200 BP, characterized by aridity, as well as marked human pressure on the landscape, such as herding, manuring, and burning. What have we learned from this study? This chart summarizes our results. Yellow signifies no significant change over time, orange, moderate change, and red, major change. One of the most surprising results of our research was the evidence that human activity declined in the southwest at the same time that populations increased in the southeast, around 4500 BP. This indicates that population movement within the Iberian Peninsula could account for some of the cultural changes in the early Bronze Age of the southeast.